then, gang, and welcome back to the Liverpool series with me, FM. If you want to get behind it, drop a like on it before we begin, and let's delve into our first league game and run you through the transfer business that we've done since we last met. So, lots has gone down. 50 million brought in, 29 sold. And let's start with some of the sales then. Divock Origi's gone off to Newcastle, which is quite interesting because we'll see how he does in the Premier League. Of course, last year had a loan spell in Germany where he was a little bit indifferent, had some really good performances, and then sort of flat to deceive a lot of the time. So he's gone for 16.5 million. Markovic is off to Southampton, so a similar situation with him. It's about time Liverpool sold a player back to Southampton to give him a little bit of a boost. And we'll see how Markovic does. I'm curious to see how they both get on this season. Both really surplus to requirements here at the club and have left then. Ryan Brewster's gone out on loan to Coventry as well. Hopefully that'll do him good. I think he's a player that in recent years has pushed for first team opportunities, but it's never really quite been there. Had a few injuries as well last year that hindered him. So we'll see how he does at Coventry. And the big signing then, the man that was rumoured, and the rumour was he had an interview with Liverpool and it never really materialised. There was breakdown in talks in the summer, but I've made sure it happens. Nabil Fekir, I think, is the player that Liverpool want and need, and I personally think he's a great addition to the team. Can play, of course, in that central area, can play out wide, can fill in for Bobby Firmino if relied upon, and I think you look at his attributes there, a bit of a superstar. Really good dribbling, finishing, first touch, passing and technique, equally very good. Great vision, flair, and good leadership abilities as well. Was captain at Lyon, of course, who have brought another captain into the squad. We've got quite a few leaders now. If you look through the squad, actually, there's quite a few of them there. Van Dijk, I would say, was probably a bit of a leader. Andy Robertson, recently Scottish captain, as well as Jordan Henderson, of course, Sadio Mane and Salah, all captain their squads, or have done at least in the past. So I think we've got a really good amount of depth now in terms of leadership abilities, good role models for some of the younger players, and enough young players that they can learn off them. Of course, we'll go through mentoring groups at some point and hopefully be able to get some good players progressing through the youth system and the academy. So then, that brings us to today. And system-wise, what are we going to use? Well, of course, we talked about it last time. The vertical tiki-taka is the way I'm going to go. Of course, Jurgen Klopp uses more of a gegenpress style, although this year in the Premier League, it's not necessarily the case. It's a little different. It's a little more reserved. If you look at some of the stats of it, it's not quite gegenpress. So the vertical tiki-taka, basically, a lot of it is requiring Naby Keita and Jordan Henderson to be getting the ball as quickly and as efficiently as possible to Mo Salah and Sadio Mane on either wing. And of course, you've got Roberto Firmino supporting that up top. Both of these boys I want to be playing relatively attacking. Whether we make Mane fully attacking or not, I'm not too sure. So far, I've got him on that supportive role, cutting in, allowing Andy Robertson to get forward. There's also a bit of a conversation, and they had it in the comments yesterday. Purely down to fitness, I'm not going to go with Trent Alexander-Arnold in his first game, although looking at him there, he's very, very good this year. Definitely better than Klein, I think. There's been a definite shift at right back. We'll play Klein in this first game. He's still a very good defender, of course. Had a huge injury last season that ruled him out for pretty much the entirety of it. He's one of the forgotten men of this Liverpool team. He was someone we maybe even could have sold at the beginning of this season, but we've kept him around, of course. The transfer window slams shut before the before the season starts now. So no more business to be done. But I'm happy with Fekir, who starts from the bench today. He'll be coming on at some point, I hope. Shaqiri maybe should come onto the bench as well. It's a tad unfortunate not to be on it. I think we'll drop Moreno as we've got lots of options at the back. Having James Milner on the bench is very fortunate because he can do basically everything required upon. Look at all that. He can do it all. He can do it all. So Crystal Palace are the first team we face up against then, and I'll show you again as I showed you yesterday. Season preview wise, we are second favourites for the title. I still think Manchester City, under the leadership of Pep Guardiola, are a very good side, and you can actually see there they've made a couple of signings. Julian Weigl, who I'm using in my Dortmund save, there's a bit of drama with him today actually, but do make sure you check that episode out. And Jonas Hector has also come in, or Jonas Hector, however you prefer to say it. So decent signings from them. Are there any other transfers in the Premier League? This could be interesting, for big money at least. Fekir, of course, the biggest of the lot. De Ligt's gone to Chelsea, it's a bit surprising. Rudiger's gone off to Bayern Munich, which I'm a little bit surprised about. And Adrian Silva, who was a deadline day deal that almost went wrong for Leicester, has now gone to Manchester United, and Camacho has joined him. So they've brought in a couple of players, interesting. And there's a few others there if you're interested. Brighton have lost Anthony Knockhart. Well, they could be in a spot of bother. Bought Junior Stanislas, it looks like, to replace him. But yeah, that seems like a bold move by Brighton down the bottom there, who could be in a relegation battle this season. Right then, I've run you through the tactics. Training and all of that we will look at a later date, but today we're going to focus very much on our first game, getting it done, as well as hopefully at some point introducing Nabil Fekir. Of course, it gives us the option to play a player in this role if Fabinho isn't necessary as we go into this game. Then we'll watch it in 3D. It's the afternoon kickoff. I'm excited. Let's get into it. Now, what you want, viewers, is a good start, as I realise now it's actually a couple of days away. Now, interestingly, Okazaki, we'll talk about this very briefly. Okazaki has been signed by Trabzonspor. You might be thinking, why are you being told about that, Ben? I was curious. I was interested. We've got Daniel Sturridge at the club, who really is the only second choice. Now we've got Fekir, it's slightly different, but was the only second choice. And if the deal for Fekir was a little bit too bold, we were going to go for a player like Okazaki. It would have been quite cheap, around £6 million, and we've got the money to spend. Still 28 million in the bank. So when it comes to January, expect another signing, because especially if we're pushing on all fronts, Champions League as well as the Premier League, we might have to bring in some extra faces to freshen things up a little bit. Andy Robertson is training superbly well. Let's praise him. I love that. I love how quickly I can do it. Glad you noticed. I did notice. And all thanks to the Training Week in Review. Thank you, Peter. It's been one game so far. Chelsea beat Leicester in the Premier League. That's all that's occurred. Of course, there's some Saturday kickoffs as well to come, and then we play later in the day. All right, so our expectations coming into this season then, to reach the semi-finals of the Champions League. Okay, the Premier League is to finish in the top four, to reach the final of the FA Cup, and they don't even consider the Carabao Cup to be important. So that's basically play your youngsters, play the fringe players, and don't worry if it doesn't go well. But semi-finals of the Champions League, are they joking? I mean, flipping heck. Now, this Liverpool save won't be every single match this season. We'll skip four, play one, skip four, play one, and see how we do this season. I want to try and get as much in as possible. Champions League, Premier League, everything. You see there then. Oh, wow, Southampton actually played Newcastle. Origi scored for Newcastle. Danny Ings, of course, on loan at Southampton, with Markovic getting 2. What a game, a 4-4. Lovely stuff. Aubameyang scored for Arsenal. Troy Deeney getting a couple for Watford, and Aguero earlier in the day helped City to a 3-0 win over Tottenham, who are going to be bottom of the table at this weekend. So tactically, hopefully Fabinho and Keita fit into the squad this season. The back five kind of picks itself. Klein, of course, playing against his former club in Crystal Palace. And interestingly, on these sides, Salah's very much an inside forward, cutting in from that side, much like he did for Liverpool last season. I want him nice and close to Firmino so those two can link up. You look at his some of his personal details, personal instructions, not his date of birth, to get further forward, to sit slightly narrower, to cut inside too. I want him to be doing all those things, very much as we saw Salah in fine form last season. Mane on the other side, slightly different story. I want him to stay a little wider, create a little bit more of an overlap with maybe Robertson on that side, and to get further forward, of course. Those three I very much want up pressing at all times, so Firmino is the kingpin of all of that. All right then, game time. Will we see Fekir? Hopefully, I'm going to try and bring him on as we're at Anfield for this one. You can see Faces of Badger now installed. Links in the description to that. Sort It Out SI is where I get them from if anyone's interested. Of course, Sacco playing against his former club, Scott Dan, Liverpool fan. It wasn't supposed to rhyme, but it did. It did rhyme. Right then, I'm gonna calmly go with we're favourites for a reason. Go out there and make sure there's no doubt left as to why we're the favourites. Of course, no Super Cup for Liverpool this season as they didn't win the Champions League final, but that. Well, shouldn't have brought that up. I've ruined my mood, if anything. All right, then, as the players walk out from the tunnel in the corner, which isn't accurate, but we'll learn to live with that. The game then gets underway. We'll watch it in 3D. Again, if people would prefer 2D, comment section, get involved, and maybe we'll change things up. All right, corner. First action of the game. Salah puts in the delivery towards the back post, which is where I've actually put it to aim. As Keita shot on goal, it's going to find its way in. It does. Firmino. I think Firmino slides on the ground. I'm not too sure. I'm going to get the replays in behind goal so we can see what occurred there. We take a 1-0 lead, though. The perfect start to the league campaign. As you can see then, Salah whips a ball into the middle. It's headed to Van Dijk, who's a great header of the ball, to be fair. Keita, I think he's shooting. And then a slide tackle comes in for Firmino. It trickles over the goal line. And the Liverpool players celebrate. Delighted. I mean, it's the perfect start. Well, not your number 9 technically, but your star man up front getting the goal as Henderson has picked up an injury. Now, if there's one area in which we're quite strong, it's the fact that Wijnaldum and Milner can come on. There's another corner played in from Mo Salah. Franz Keita this time. Virgil van Dijk slams it in. We're 7 minutes in. I've scored from 2 corners. It's not FM18, is it? It's definitely a new game. Unbelievable. In my set piece there, I didn't actually cover this, but in my set pieces, I have aimed for Salah to hit the back post because I know that Van Dijk is lurking there. This time, though, it didn't even go to Van Dijk. Keita is the person who racks first, and then Virgil van Dijk gets himself a goal. This is going very well. This is going too well. Hopefully Henderson's not too badly injured. We've got a free kick now. Fabinho from about 30 yards out. He strikes one, and well gathered by the keeper. We're only about 10 minutes in. And since that free kick, we're actually in again here as Firmino carrying it forward. You can see he's got Salah to his right, but he goes to Keita on this left-hand side. Where's Naby going to put it? As he goes left-footed, ball into the centre. Salah's there. We're 11 minutes, 34 seconds in, and Liverpool are 3-0 up to Crystal Palace. I'm actually going to show you in 2D. We'll do it for this one as well. The curve that is in the ball, on the ball this year, you'll see it far better in 2D than you ever will in 3D. Check this out. As Keita puts it in, I'm hoping to see a bit of bend on the ball, there's little bend on the ball. But actually, I'm going to stay in 2D just for the moment, just so you can see how this year in the game, the ball is bending and curving all over the place. It's beautiful. We'll have 3D replays on still. Well, it's the perfect start, viewers. The most perfect of starts. There's a temptation early that if Henderson's injury is serious, that we push Fabinho further forward and we get Fekir on straight away. It should be right till half-time. Potential knee injury. Hopefully it's just a bit of bruising, as we've seen it before. So corner to be taken. Hopefully you'll see a bit of bend this time. Again, didn't really see it. I shouldn't have pointed it out. We've had a corner that hasn't come to anything for a change, as Joe Gomez on the ball. We'll speed this up just a touch, I think, as Fabinho and Henderson combine. So Naby Keita. Mo Salah could have easily been 4. Some more possession for us. 26, 27 minutes gone on the clock. It's Naby Keita driving forward. What a run by Keita. It nearly found its way in after a deflection, but not quite. So far, everyone is playing brilliantly well. Now Sadio Mane has picked up a little bit of a knock. He looks like he's cut a hand. I mean, his hand? He's at a potential hand injury. I've played Football Manager a lot last year. Don't ever remember a hand injury mid-game. All right, some possession for us again as Henderson plays it forward to Mane. The 2 injured players combine as Keita just takes it off him and says, actually, I think you'll find that's my ball. Shot goes in. Is it saved by the keeper? Great effort from Keita. Another corner to Liverpool. Salah whips it in this time, and I mean, Henderson's going to get back on that. Back out to Salah. If he could put a delivery into the centre, can he? Drives at it and forces another corner. Salah then to deliver the corner in. Lovely whip to the back post, and it's gone out for a goal kick, but it was very close to the head of Van Dijk, I feel. Right then, as we edge to half-time, you can see the injury is definitely affecting Henderson and Mane's performances. Everyone else playing really well. Those two, not so much. So I think we're going to make a double change. All right, so far, very happy the way things are going. Certainly keep that up. We will make a couple of changes to our injured pair. I'm going to get Fekir on for Mane and see how he does from that side. He's right-footed, if I'm not mistaken. Right then, we've brought Fekir on for Mane. That's step 1. And with Henderson, we're going to take him off as well. James Milner seems like the most obvious candidate to replace him, so I'll bring him on. Fekir's left-footed, so I'm not sure, actually, if we want to play him out on that left side as an inside forward. I'd prefer him more as a winger, I think. Hopefully this is a pressure-off scenario for Fekir. He doesn't feel like he has to do too much. Already 3-0 to the good. I mean, it's not his natural position, but it's to get him some game time with the players as well. He's not had a massive amount to train with them either. The first thing he did was give the ball away, viewers. All right, I've made 2 changes. We'll save the third in case an inevitable injury occurs. The 65 minutes gone in the second half, and it's been quiet. Very quiet. I guess there's potential with the last few minutes coming up to make another change. I'm thinking Daniel Sturridge might get a go, as there's actually a corner to Palace. Put in Kiate with a strike, and Becker makes it only the 3rd save of the game for him. All right, 15 to go. Sturridge on, Firmino off. The job's been done in the first half, really. The question is, how will Sturridge do as this pressing forward? Of course, not quite of a similar work rate level to Firmino, especially after all his injuries, but lethal given the opportunities, and that's what we want to see from him. Final 5 minutes, I'm just going to make a subtle change that I want to see how that works. Just putting Fekir in the centre as the shadow, just behind Daniel Sturridge. So I'm going to change up to an advanced forward. Obviously, less emphasis out on the left, but it's only the final 5 minutes. We're just going to see if those two can combine somehow. As a highlight, with not long to go, actually going the way of Crystal Palace as Sakho's on it. We're trying to press the ball here. We're trying to get it back as the pressure comes in. Oh, Sturridge has nabbed in. He's got it. Can he find Fekir? Will he go for goal? He goes himself. Saved by the keeper. Solicitors have another chance, really, as Salah can't find him either. But Daniel Sturridge on the breakaway. Nabbed in there. As I say, pressing forward. Got involved and couldn't quite apply the finish. Fabinho's picked up a bruised ankle as well late in the game. Hopefully he can see it out until the end. Again, Henderson can always drop into that role, so it's not a complete disaster. He's injured. He's injured with a bruised ankle, and he's done that. 4-0 Liverpool. We've scored from 2 corners and a free kick. It's a whole new game. Fabinho there. Lovely effort. I mean, something to enjoy for everyone. And that then should just about be that as we do clear it again. I'm hoping the referee blows time. And he does. That's the final whistle. Liverpool 4. Crystal Palace now the perfect start to our league campaign. Hopefully we can continue it the further we go on. I mean, if the team talk goes well, it's a perfect game. There we go. Everyone absolutely delighted. Some really good performances out there as well. You've got to say, Fabinho, fantastic. Naby Keita had a really good game as well, as did Mo Salah. Lovely to see. And at the back as well, every defender put in a shift too. Great to see. I mean, some of the players that are trying to get back into this team may well struggle. It sends us top of the table. Still a few player teams left to play their games, but the perfect start. If you enjoyed today's video, then please do leave a like, as the injury's not too bad. Henderson for 3 weeks, actually, that's quite bad. Fabinho for a couple of days, but everyone else seems fit, ready and raring to go. That hand injury for Mane, he must have, I don't know if he crossed his fingers, who knows. We love with care then. For me, let's mention until next time. I'll see you tomorrow for more. And yes, if you enjoyed it, drop a like. Want to see more? Subscribe to the channel. More FM19 content coming soon. This game must be bugged because it's gone far too well in the first episode. Hi, guys at SI, thanks. I appreciate that. That's one of the perfect episodes you can have. So, cheers. I look forward to you screwing me later in the series. Cheers. Yeah, good.